Hi, today is Friday, April 24th, in the year 2020. Today we're going to be finishing up our look at Psalms. We will be looking at an example of wisdom Psalms, liturgical Psalms, and pilgrimage Psalms. You might notice on our outline from the first day, I also included communal Psalms. I have decided, for the sake of time today, to exclude that one. Mainly because we have already covered individual Thanksgivings, and the communal Thanksgiving and the individual Thanksgiving are essentially the same. So instead, we're going to begin looking at Psalm 1, a wisdom psalm. Blessed is the man who does not walk in the counsel of the wicked, or stand in the way of sinners, or sit in the seat of mockers. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and on his law he meditates day and night. He is like a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season, whose leaf does not wither. Whatever he does prospers. Not so the wicked. They are like chaff that the wind blows away. Therefore the wicked will not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the assembly of the righteous. For the Lord watches over the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked will perish. A fairly straightforward psalm to introduce this first book of the five that we have in Psalms. It is an echo of the wisdom literature. It is a praise of wisdom. In some Jewish traditions, wisdom is almost personified, as we see in Proverbs chapter 8. Here, we don't have quite that personification, but we definitely have a call to wisdom. In a biblical sense, wisdom is knowing right from wrong. It does not inherently have anything to do with intelligence, although there is an aspect of that in what we refer to as natural wisdom. Wisdom is a moral thing, and I think we can see that it is something that is often lacking in our modern society. Well, that one's pretty straightforward. Let's move on now to Psalm 15, an example of a liturgical psalm. Liturgy literally means the work of the people, and it is used in the context of worship to refer to those parts of worship that are done corporately, not by a priest, but by those assembled. Here, scholars believe that we have a psalm intended perhaps to be sung at the beginning of worship, a movement into more formal styles. Psalm 15. Again, a psalm of David, which we don't know exactly what that means, but here. Lord, who may dwell in your sanctuary? Who may live on your holy hill? He who walks is blameless, and who does what is righteous, who speaks the truth from his heart, and has no slander on his tongue, who does his neighbor no wrong, casts no slur on his fellow man, who despises a vile man, but honors those who fear the Lord, who keeps his oath even when it hurts, who lends his money without usury, does not accept a bribe against the innocent. He who does these things will never be shaken. Now, on the one hand, this could also fall in the category of wisdom literature, but it is typically placed in the category of liturgical or worship as it invites the singer to analyze their life, to ask, am I ready to enter into worship? We have this advice from Jesus that if someone goes to the altar to offer a sacrifice, but realizes his brother has something against him, he should leave his offering, go make things right with his brother, and then return. There is an idea of cleansing to enter into worship. Now, in a kind of formal sense, there is ritual purification, but there is here and in the prophets and in the New Testament a moral sense of cleaning, that we realize that our relationship with others affects our relationship to God, and that if we have problems with people we have relationships with, if those relationships are corrupted or flawed for some reason, then our relationship to God is flawed or corrupted. And as we have trouble communicating with our fellow human beings, we will have trouble communicating with God. And so we leave what we're doing, and we try to fix it. It's not always possible. I realize that. There are some people that we follow the advice of Jesus, kick the dust off our heels and keep going, simply because things won't change. And that's okay. But here, in as far as possible for us to be right with the world and to be right with God, is a way of entering into worship. Finally, let's look at Psalm 46. It is the latest of our Psalms. It is the first one we have from Book 2. Book 2 encompasses Psalms 42 through 72. A lot of these are referred to of the sons of Korah. And we could ask ourselves, who are the sons of Korah? And if you can answer that, wonderful, because I can't. Perhaps we have a musical family. Perhaps we have a school founded by someone named Korah. Either way, we look at hymn 46, one of the early ones in this section. The superscription says, for the director of music of the sons of Korah, according to Alamoth, a song. Again, Alamoth is probably a musical term. What it actually means, we don't know. But this is a song that is going to be more familiar to you. The pilgrimage songs or songs of ascent are written in kind of a building way in Hebrew. You feel like you're going up, you're going higher. So let us see. God is our refuge and strength, and ever-present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear. The earth give way, the mountains fall into the heart of the sea. Though its waters roar and foam, the mountains quake with their surging. There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy place where the Most High dwells. God is within her, and she will not fall. God will help her at break of day. Nations are in uproar, kingdoms fall. He lifts his voice, and the earth melts. The Lord Almighty is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. Come and see the works of the Lord, the desolations he has brought on the earth. He makes war cease to the ends of the earth. He breaks the bow and shatters the spear. He burns the shield with fire. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord Almighty is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. The word of the Lord. The mention of the dwelling place of the Most High, the holy place, is part of what makes this categorized as a song of pilgrimage. It is a song sung ultimately about going to Jerusalem to be with God. It also ascribes many things to God, his power and might. And again, God is seen as powerful in his ability to destroy his enemies. God is pictured as a warrior, not often an image that we see in Christianity, perhaps one that's not entirely compatible with our image of a loving God. But it does exist, and it is appropriate as God is judge of the earth. We've looked at Psalms over the last 4 days, and you have noticed that while some of them clearly fit into one category or another, a lot of these defy categorization. They go into many different categories. Our effort to categorize was just to give us a handle on doing a sampling from the psalm. 150 of them in English would take a long time to cover, especially Psalm 119. But what we look at, and one of the reasons I have tried to include the recordings of these psalms sung or chanted in a lot of different ways in Hebrew, is to show us how beautiful they are. These were sung in worship. Think of your favorite hymn, the favorite thing you sing in church. Probably one of the ones we've talked about was someone's sung at the temple, or even in synagogues, perhaps. Those appropriate for that. God's people have always expressed themselves through first music and song, but in art. We often think, well, my art, my voice isn't good enough. There's no such thing. No, you may not have a voice or be capable of producing art that's going to make you a fortune, or even that you could do professionally, but that's not it. God desires us to express ourselves to him. That is part of maintaining a relationship. There are many ways to view our relationship to God. One is a total master-servant place of subjection. And to a certain degree, that is appropriate. But Christ makes us joint heirs with him. He makes us children of God. And parents want children to talk to them. Talk to God. Express your feelings. That's really what this entire series has been about. Find a way and do it. Coloring, drawing, poems, singing, dancing, sculpture, would work. It, it doesn't matter the medium. That we are focused on God and not doing this as a performance for others is what's important. Express yourself to God. Whatever you're feeling. These are bad feelings. If you are honest in talking to God, those feelings will get worked out, directed appropriately. But you have to be open to it. I hope you have enjoyed our look at the Psalms over the last 4 days. It is a very brief overview. And like I said, one that I hope is helpful. Now we're going to return next week with a new study. I have no idea what it's going to be. I am willing to entertain suggestions. James, we did as a recommendation. I would love to hear others. If it is a big book, we might look at select chapters or passages. If it is a small one, we might go through it verse by verse. Wherever you are and whatever you're feeling, first of all, I acknowledge that it's okay for you to feel that way. Second, I encourage you to express yourself to God. And third, I encourage you to take the time to listen to his response. Because in spite of what we may think, God does respond. It might be hard to hear, either because it's hard for us to understand it, or because in understanding it, it's hard to do. But God does respond. And God loves you. Always remember that. And whatever you do. Be back with us Sunday for worship. We will continue our season of Easter. And hopefully, in the fullness of time, we will see each other face to face. Until then, God bless you.